Hey, how you doing? My name is Chidi Ibezum. I had a great opportunity to work with Joshua House here in Lutz, Florida. This is based in the Hillsborough area, close to Tampa. The reason why I actually chose the Joshua House is because I am currently an investigator with the Department of Children and Families, and we actually work very closely with them to ensure that these children in our communities get the accessible help that they deserve. During the course of my project, I was able to do a bunch of different trainings with them. It was a great experience. One of the major things that I actually wanted to talk about was my trauma informed training that I actually did co-signing with the director of Joshua House. She gave me an overall tour of all the facilities, the kitchens, and also the playgrounds and the basketball hoops that they have. She was able to tell me that they try to supply a normal life to the children that have been in the system and who have been neglected or abused by their previous parents, or who just don't have their parents in their life currently due to unforeseen circumstances. This proved to actually be an amazing experience for me, just because I was able to learn more about a provider that I actually work with every day for my job. The Joshua House was built in the Tampa Bay area. It is based in the Tampa Bay area, and it came to great importance during the COVID time. During 2020, the foster care system was to be as professional as possible in shambles. During this time, it was hard for a lot of DCF investigators and caseworkers to find available spots for kids who have been taken out of the home due to abuse and neglect. This led to a lot of children having to double up in beds. It led to a lot of facilities having to take upon a lot of care with these kids, and it was extremely tough. Even for the most well-ran facilities in the area. This is why Joshua House was created. Joshua House was able to be uplifted and grow, and it actually demonstrated a good place for many of these children to stay and actually be able to recover from their trauma informed history. This also goes into the very large and foundational part of the whole facility, which is counseling. They actually have counselors who come onto campus almost every day, and they try to engage with these kids. I can actually speak to this personally because I've worked with a lot of human trafficking victims who have actually gone to the facility to gain their help. I believe that it's one of the greatest and best organizations in my area. It's been a huge help to the community. And I'm glad that I've gotten the opportunity to actually work alongside them this time around, like this semester. I wanted to talk a lot about my paper, and a big thing that I actually wanted to focus on was stakeholders. I was able to get in contact with the executive director, the program managers, caseworkers, board members, educators, therapists, frontline workers, staff workers, and even administrative assistants. And I've been able to, just engage with them, get pertinent information just about how things are ran, such as fundraising, outreach. The director actually gave me a good overview of this in terms of they do fundraise and save up everything that they have for these kids. Sadly, the government, the state government doesn't provide funding when it comes to these type of things. So the director explained that they would typically hold these fundraisers. It can consist of, selling different items, doing car washes, just doing like, these fundraisers through these websites, and this will actually help fund the Joshua House. The Joshua House is ultimately known as nonprofit, um, and is ultimately been just once again I do want to say a strong source in my community. Um, External stakeholders did include, of course, Florida Department of Children and Families, DJJ, Department of Juvenile Justice, Dependency Court representatives, community-based providers, healthcare and mental health providers. Like I said, counselors do go on to the campus. Local schools do actually invest their time in the Joshua House. Law enforcement agencies such as TPD, and HSO also do their community events around that area, and they actually do come onto campus to talk to these kids who normally have not had maybe the best interactions with law enforcement, and of course, families and youth that are served. A lot of the time, a lot of these kids, end up having these parents who are going through their own problems in the system, and they're trying to actually get them back. So how does that exactly work? Joshua House would assume custody of the children, make sure that they're going to school, make sure that all essential needs are met while the parents are getting any treatment or doing any services that are needed to regain custody. Um, this is very important because in terms of DCF, this tends to be a big thing for us. A lot of time we always try to pair kids. If child is removed out of the home, we try to pair kids with household members, or anyone like family members, people who are close, cousins, aunts, etc. But sadly, that's not always the case, especially with these families who have gone through a large amount of trauma. It's very hard for us to find family members. So when things like this happen, we ultimately look for placement, and Joshua House is almost on top of our list for long-term placement. During this time, a lot of the community staff and the directors at Joshua House will work with these parents to ultimately make sure that they also have their time with their kids, obviously supervised based on the court's recommendations. I would also like to say that it's important to recognize the mission statement and why it's so important that the Joshua House does stay empowered. The mission statement that I came across and I deemed it to resonate not only with the mission of Joshua House, but their partner in DCF. I would also like to say the mission statement did read as the mission of Friends of Joshua House is to empower children and families by providing compassionate, evidence-based care that promotes safety, healing, and long-term well-being. This mission reflects the organization's dedication to transforming trauma into resiliency and restoring dignity to every child it serves. Such a powerful statement. I do once again want to say. And then, moreover, going over, these strategic issues and the agendas that have been, kind of made so apparent to us. I think the number one issue was the capacity and resource limitations. Like I said, sadly, they don't get funding. There's limited space. There's staffing issues at times, and the financial resources reduce the organization's ability to serve more children. I think a good strategy to kind of combat this is obviously seeking new grants, expanding facilities, hiring additional staff as deemed necessary, and improving operation efficiency. Likewise, I think that Joshua House has done a great job with fundraising, but there's never too much fundraising or too much that can be done. Another thing that I wanted to point out was the community awareness and engagement. This is something that I deem to be very important, something that DCF also takes serious as well. The problem with engaging in Hillsborough County has been this efficiency, just given the visibility of donor growth, getting volunteers to participate, and partnerships overall. The big strategy for this was to develop a marketing plan using social media, public events, and community collaboration. This has been something that I think Joshua House has been doing more so, given that they have been able to get on Instagram and Facebook. And this was something that I was able to see for myself, as they have been growing for the past few years. And then, of course, funding. Funding I believe, is always a big thing for these nonprofits, just because too often a lot of the problems that we run into is a lot of people don't take these organizations serious because it's based in just overall mental health, right? It's like the counseling. It's just not a problem to any regular state government, but it is very important. The major problem that I found in terms of funding for the Joshua House was this heavy reliance on short-term gain grants and donations poses a financial risk. Um, like I said, fundraising is great, but it's not something that's long term. Money does run out. So for me, I always felt like they should always pursue a long term funding opportunity, something that they can do yearly. Of course, maybe getting corporate sponsors involved can also help out. And then, of course, looking more into donation programs could also be a huge help for this organization as well. Just to conclude it, I just want to say once again, I want to say thank you to Joshua House. I want to say thank you for my supervisor for continue to help out and help me with this project, pairing them with the necessary frontline workers. It was truly a great experience, especially someone in child welfare, and I just hope that I can continue to use this new relationship to expand my influence to grow in the community. Thank you.